Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and this is the first video we've done since before that. It's actually been focused on Dragon Ball Super. And yeah, even though One Piece content is popping off and I'm playing that game like my life depended on it, if you thought that just because I was sitting here on the East Blue going to the Grand Line doing all this One Piece stuff that I wasn't about to jump directly back into Dragon Ball Super when Dragon Ball Super had anything newsworthy, then
you are wrong! All of you are wrong!
So yeah, that aside, I'm of course gonna cover it. Like, you guys know what this channel used to be called, and now we just changed it to TCG because we're doing more than just one TCG for real. So we're gonna put the template up. Actually, no, we're not, because the template hasn't been updated for UniXTCG. We're gonna fix that soon enough. That being said, we have a couple changes. We have 2 bans. And then, no, we have 3 bans, and then we have 1 errata, and they do some pretty easy things. So, like, let's actually talk about it. We're gonna put the post up on the side of the screen. It says January 1st ban/limited/errata card update. Hello DBSCG fans. From January 1st, 2023, 3 ban cards and 1 errata card will be added to the ban/limited/errata list. Ban cards. We're gonna start this off. Let me get this. All right. No, we've got wow, BT10-044 SS Trunks God Sealing Technique. Yep, that is it. God Sealing Trunks is now banned. Reason: this card has had a continued and oppressive gameplay pattern against the high cost battle cards without deflect, and its cost 0 energy can easily stop major actions. In order to limit this card's effect in the future card design, we decided to ban this card. So here's the thing: a lot of people are going to be big mad at this one, and I mean big mad. But at the end of the day, what you have to understand is that nothing about this was wrong. Like, secret rares could get bounced by a 0 cost if a unison was out, and secret rares are not meant to be, yes, they're a little too powerful, a little too swingy, but they were not meant to be clapped like that. And you have so many cards that have deflect. Think of how many cards are just printed with deflect, and you're like, this card doesn't need deflect. Like, it's so strong as it is. I should be able to Yamcha this. I should be able to tap it. I should be able to this. And a lot of people will cry about this, but for the sacrifice of God Sealing Technique, you are now going to be able to hit more things with Steadfast. You are now going to be able to hit way more things with pretty much any counterplay. So for that purpose, I think that that is actually good. God Sealing isn't in the game anymore, but God Sealing was the only one that was just like, no matter what the cost, put that crap back in hand. Now, they'll be able to release bombs that don't have deflect, meaning that you can counterplay them efficiently. And I think that's a better part in the game. No more of these guys that just come down unable to be touched, and then somehow they gain barrier through an activate main, and then they just start ruining your life. No. These guys will always be vulnerable to counterplays, and I think that's the way it needs to happen going forward. Because now, Blue has gotten to a point where it can be very offensive, and then as long as it has the unison, it has a great defensive package too. The next card, you've got BT18-011 SS4 Son Goku Digging Deep. Reason: the strength and utility of this card has caused an overabundance of Son Goku and Vegeta SS4s decks to be in competitive play. In order to increase the diversity of deck building, we decided to ban this card. I'm gonna be real. This is a defensive hit to Gogeta. And yes, SS4 Goku and Vegeta/Gogeta, yeah, like, it is a deck that can combo sky high, combo very often, cantrip a lot, and having a Senzu being on top of that is rough. Having your leader be base 20 and then you can combo over it will bounce most of an offensive onslaught. Now, you have to still combo, you can still combo, but, you know, like, that's kind of like a weird thing. I don't know about how effective this hit is going to be, because you've taken more defense away from a deck that's already had its defense taken away, and that wasn't the end-all be-all of the deck. The deck could still punch you in the face very, very well, and it still can. That hasn't changed. So this one is the one I'm looking at with the most scrutiny, because I don't think this really changed the deck that much. It made it more fragile, but if the deck high rolls, it's still beating you into the ground. So we'll come back to that. Next, you've got BT18-022 Hey Shenron Gathering Evil. Reason: the strength utility of this card has caused an overabundance of Shenron decks in competitive play, and in order to increase the diversity in the deck building, we have decided to ban this card. Now, this is the other thing. Getting rid of Haze means we no longer have crit double strikes coming on turn 2. We no longer have triple strikes coming on turn 3. However, we still have double strikes on turn 2 and triple strikes on turn 3. So I need people to understand that the only thing that's changed is that you will no longer be able to get hit by these strikes and not get any cards. But be assured, if you were at 6 on turn 3 and you get hit by a triple strike, yeah, you can add 3 cards to hand. You are still on death's door against this deck. So this is something that I think a lot of people need to understand. This deck is not gone. Neither Gogeta or Sin are gone. They are just trying to make them less powerful. And in Sin's case, I think it works. I think the deck is still very much so playable. You're just not destroying people's lives to oblivion. But with Gogeta, I don't think Gogeta's changed very much at all. I think it lost some cards that made it very easy to bounce stuff. Like offense, I'll be better to be defensive, but I don't think it's like putting the deck any further in a trash can or anything. So it's kind of a weird thing. Next, you have got the Errata, and this one is a big one. I'm not even reading all this because it's got too much text. They errated Crimson Warrior. Previously, Crimson Warrior's Awaken ability was to be either at 2 life, which was garbage, or to have 5 sands in your drop and put it under him like the God Ritual, and he would flip. But they are saying that flipping at 8 life potentially was way too much for this leader because you're at 15, you can combo up through effect, you can do all these things. He's also drawing, he's doing a lot. So what they're saying now is that you have to be at 4 life to awaken. It was now errated to say, let's see, it was now errated to say awaken when your life is at 4 or less and you place 5 sand cards under this card from your drop area, you may draw 3 cards, switch it to one of your energy to active mode, flip this card over. Now, there's a couple things here that kind of make it interesting. One, this doesn't kill the deck. The rest of its effect is still here. That is that. You're still being able to take a life and draw a card, during battle. You're going up. You're also able to still have the 5 sands, so the deck's still kind of built the same. The only difference is you're gonna have to use your leader effect a couple of times, and you're gonna have to get down to 4. There will be no more, I'm at 6 life, but this is where I want to be. Let me just awaken here. No, you will be using your ability to 4 life, which makes it a little rough in certain cases because for you to get to your untapping thing, you don't have the avenue of awakening at high life versus an aggro deck, which was always a good place to be because you're at base 15, you have battle tricks, and now you can sit up here and just be at, your 6-7 life if you so chose. But now you have to go down to 4 life, which is essentially a 2-tap for certain Sin decks. And yes, the deck has lots of combos and negates, but it is a much more dangerous place to be. I think the deck still has all the power it used to have, just not as much as the lofty defenses awakening at high life if it so chose. And so I don't think that this deck is dead. Maybe not yet. I think it's still very playable. I just think that against these aggro decks, it's weird. So it's kind of weird. They hurt the out to these red decks. And on top of hurting the out to Sin, they hurt it in a way that would make it more susceptible to what Sin's doing, which is making it go down to hit its maximum potential. Then, with Sin, they took away the crit, but it still has the devastating ability to play these very, very cheap double strikes and triple strikes with beefy attacks. And with Gogeta, they took away its Sensu Beam, but didn't touch its offensive capability. So this is going to be a very interesting match because the decks may play differently. Sin, I don't think is going to play that differently, but Gogeta will have to figure out if its defenses are good enough to still be played, which I think they still kind of are. And I think, Goku, you're gonna have to maybe be smarter about how you play around with aggro because you're gonna have to drop to a lower life total to play. All in all, I think this list did a good job trimming these 3 decks. I think they could have been a little more heavy on Sin and Gogeta, but I think that those are still gonna be the 3 most popular decks. But we do have to acknowledge that if Gogeta and Sin are still popular, then Crimson will probably still be played along with maybe Gamma. And if those are still played, then green decks will still have room to kind of come in and do their thing, because green decks are kind of, you know, popping off. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the discussion. These are my thoughts on it. Worlds is going to be a wild ride. Let's see if green rears its ugly head, but I think that Sin and Gogeta are still powerful enough to force blue to be their main outs or playing against each other. So we're probably going to see a very, very red-blue Worlds as well. It says that, you know, there's bans are inactive for the 2022 World Championships at Dragon Ball games, so they're probably going to look at Worlds and probably do another ban list. I would not be surprised if we saw a Zenkai 03 ban list based off of what happened at Worlds. But if you like the content, go ahead down there, click that subscribe button if you aren't subscribed already, like the video, comment on it, let me know what you think. I'm going to be posting this everywhere, and thank you guys for holding on. We've been doing a lot of One Piece content, but you already know, we just like Bandai games in general. We like One Piece, we like Dragon Ball, we're going to get into Battle Spirits, it is what it is. I will see you guys next time, later.